There, so the racers have been counted in. We're doing a basic King's Pass start, which I think is good for tournament. Nothing too crazy on the board initially, besides maybe the Radiant Boss and Path of Pain. We'll have to see whether the race actually comes down to something like that, but...
And just want to say, for those of you tuning in for this as your first race in the bracket phase, we have updated our bingo sync generator, so you can spy a couple of new goals on this board. Visit Queen's Gardens or Cast Off Shell, as well as Slash the Beast Den Trilobite are some of the new ones for this round of the tournament. I'm excited for them to see their first tourney usage.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool new goals that kind of open up some new areas that we just didn't really touch that often in Rando. Like, I really have been liking the new Crystal Peaks goals. Those ones have like kind of really opened up that area, so you're actually more incentivized to go there. Yeah, it's been really, really cool.
Yeah, and this board looks like a fairly good mix of fairly early goals, like 3 dive floors, 3 maps, as well as some much later goals, like you mentioned, Radiant Boss and Path of Pain. So it'll be it looks like there'll be good competition all the way through the game.
Yeah, it's exciting. We'll have to see how things go here. There are some kind of like goals that could be sneakily hidden away for a while, like obtain Tram Pass and then that Spore Shroom lore tablet. But I think those are the ones that are most likely to be buried very, very deep. Besides, I guess, Path of Pain.
Yeah, and it looks like a fairly average board in terms of randomness, maybe slightly on the random side. There are a couple of one-off random goals, like you mentioned, Tram Pass and Spore Shroom, and some lower variance goals like Hallownest Seals to Unbreakable Charms. For this round of the tournament, we added a variance cap on the bingo boards so that you can't get a board that is, for instance, 12 different obtain goals, which helps emphasize skill a little more, we think, in Rando, as both runners grab their King's Idol at Fury and move towards a Zelda.
Yeah, that's actually, I think, my favorite change from the last round to this round is that variance cap. I really, really appreciate that. Crossroads Stag at a Zelda, not going to do much for them, but does exist.
It's one of the least useful places you can put that, at a Zelda and King's Pass start. A gentleman and talking to Elderbug before continuing down the well and into Crossroads. You love to see it.
That was fantastic.
Immediately early goals like False Knight Moloch that are the sort of things that you really rush early. Sour opting to check grubs early, which could pay off given the number of different random goals there are, but Jason just doing a fairly conventional sweep through Crossroads.
Yeah, noting that he skipped that first map, so if he does want to get that map goal, he will have to come back for it. Oh, that was 23 grub claw. I'm hoping for their sake that's not their first claw, but
Yeah.
With 15 grubs on the board, that's not actually that awful.
It may incentivize Sour Cream to grab grubs even earlier, because if Sour Cream marks 15 grubs, it may disincentivize Jason from collecting, especially since he hasn't checked it. I also want to shout out that 4 grub dash slash, just in case. It's a beautifully cursed seed.
And it definitely could be. We've had some pretty rough tournament seeds before.
I mean, you as a seed generator have a habit of giving us the content, so I am optimistic for this race.
I really hope so. I really hope so. Queen Station Stag. Okay, I was very scared that was going to be the Queen's Garden Stag. We were discussing before the race the ride the Stag to Queen's Gardens plus the visit Queen's Gardens or Cast Off Shell. But well,
so much for 23 grubs.
Yeah, that was quick. What does that open up?
That's 3 lore tablets in Green Path pretty fast.
Through cliffs?
Or through Queen Station, where Jason is headed right now.
Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely. I forgot the Queen Station existed.
Also,
It's interesting how little, like, I feel like Claw opens up if you don't have a stag, just like in Crossroads.
Yeah, it technically gets you a fair bit of the map, but you have to go all the way around through Howling Cliffs to get to
Yeah.
all of left side, so it's kind of annoying movement, especially without dash. Now we're going to pick up his Claw, be a little bit behind, but looks like we'll make the same play. Or maybe not.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what stuff that puts in logic in Crossroads, and I guess it would just be go Mask Shard and then like Salubra and Well.
Yeah, the well is what I'm thinking might be some tricky progression here. First seal for Jason, and Sour just going to stay on the conventional Crossroads path, headed down to False Knight.
Yeah, I think that's a decent play. You could kind of assume that you're behind when you take the time to stop and talk to Elderbug and you check grubs and stuff. So I think like kind of understanding that going for those lore tablets is probably just going to be a lost cause is a pretty decent play.
And especially on this path through Green Path, it's not the most check dense, so Sour could hope to hit some earlier progression, like if there's a dash at shops, for instance. Sour has a pretty concerted advantage towards that.
Yeah, and also this is 4 checks rather than the regular 3 checks from False Knight, because that Claw does open up the Soul Catcher check. So this is pretty check dense for sure. And there are quite a few random goals, so even if it's not mega likely to be progression, it's definitely good to get out of the way.
And yeah, shops being nearby, because there are a fair number of goals that aren't progression, but are still afforded you in those extra checks by shops. Eyeing Sprint Master, Dash Master, the Hollowness Seals, and just money for Nail 2.
Or for the bank, too. Ooh, Hidden Station Stag. That's quick access to Path of Pain. Maybe not yet.
Just
Definitely have my eyes on that, though.
I mean, with these runners, it very well could come down to Path of Pain. They're both good, and there's not a clear advantage between them. Hidden Station Stag is also a Crystal Heart. Jason Simple Key Wings.
Yeah. So both technically in logic now. But do you take the time to do that when there's goals on the board that you could get? Probably not, right?
Yeah, I imagine this is probably a map rush for Sour Cream, maybe? Because I imagine he'd figure he's behind on lore tablets, especially since Jason is about to mark that in just a second here. But heading for Cornifer, you have fungal fungal Crossroads and Basin pretty easily accessible, but it looks like he's headed up into Green Path instead.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't think Jason has gotten any maps either. And I guess they are both pretty short on Geo, but I usually don't expect to see that goal stick around on the board for very long at all.
Sour immediately doing QGA.
Oh,
Like
that's so
90%
smart.
runner. That's clever.
No dash QGA is tough. That was very, very, very clean.
It's a bit of a flex to get that Queen's Gardens goal on the board early.
Yeah, that's something I didn't even consider when I saw the Classy dash.
Is serving up some early content. Oh, and right into Vengeful Spirit. This is a good turn of events for Sour.
Yeah, like I think this should end up being fine for Jason. I feel like he should trade maps back for those 2 goals, but then we should have an even 2-2, but we'll see.
Also bait Jason into thinking that VS is at the QG egg.
Can you even get to QG egg right now? I don't think so, because you can't make it over the... Oh, with C-Dash you could, but he doesn't know that.
C-Dash I think is possible. But if he thinks like, yeah, he got Ismas instead of just doing dashless QGA, then...
Yeah. Okay, so Jason is going for maps here. I think that's a really good play. I think you're in a really rough spot if you let Sour get maps too. Good amount of checks here in cliffs, and that VS is definitely going to open up the Balder Shell check too.
And a nice bench for later for once you grab wings, in case that is your fastest way to Stagnus Vessel Fragment.
Mm-hmm.
Out of his way to free grubs. Jason, a big fan of the grub saving goals.
And I think this is really good too, just grabbing the journal so you have it with both Charged Lumafly journal entry and Gomengar P journal entries on the board. I don't know if this is everybody that this happens to, but definitely for me, I'm like, oh yeah, I can just go and kill Umu and get the journal entry, and then I'm like, oh wait, I haven't been to Green Path, I don't have the journal. So I think this is good to pick it up if you're in the area.
I think a lot of runners feel bad about grabbing it because if you get it after, you can mark the goal a little faster because the cutscene is long. But usually when if you're in Green Path early anyway, and especially like this when there's multiple goals on the board that need it, might as well. Too big a detour.
An Arcane Egg. That's relevant for some of these goals on the board, like the spend 5,000 Geo, the 1,500 Geo in the bank, the Basin Fountain check. It's a lot of Geo-related goals on this board.
Yeah. Bring the extra income is by no means a bad thing, as Jason will remember to check well on his way to grab his third map, I assume. And I don't believe Sour grabbed the map in Howling Cliffs, so I believe Sour is just donating that goal to Jason at this point.
Yeah, I think so. And there's the goal.
So now Jason knows he's behind at least one piece of movement, because he needs some way to get into QG, but doesn't have a great sense of where Sour might have got that. So it looks like he's just going to loop back around through Crossroads, check grubs. We'll see that dash slash and that unfortunate dupe claw.
Yeah, grub's kind of a bust of the seed. Not too much like super important there.
Say that until Wings is at NMG.
Yeah, I guess it's to be seen.
Something also worth noting is Claw C-Dash is logical right side, so there is a whole lot of other avenues for movement that Sour has, and it looks like he's headed right now to shops to perhaps start in that direction.
What is the logical right side? Like, how do you get to a logical right side with Claw C-Dash?
Right here through Blue Lake, you can C-Dash, climb this wall by Grub's mother.
Oh, yes, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot that you could climb up this wall and then C-Dash. I was like, oh, does that make the Claw Shade skip easier? Or Alright, that's definitely good to know.
Also worth noting on the subject of the Claw Shade skip, that because this is a lower bracket round, we are still on easy logic, so Shade skips are not considered logical for this race. But that, like we saw with early QGA, that won't stop these runners from doing whatever skips they need to muscle their way to goals and progression.
Nothing fantastic at Salubra. I think the slide check is good.
Going to continue around through Fungal. The jump to leg eater's a little bit annoying with only claw, but that's another shop to check. There's a fair amount of randomness on this board. Not Sprint Master, just a little bit expensive for right now.
Oh man, so many Geo goals. I think whoever's gonna make it to Lem first is gonna have a pretty nice advantage on this board.
Looks like Sour may already be eyeing that. Or oh no, that's Green Path. I lied. I'm not sure where he's proposing to get the Geo. This could be Massive Moss Charger, Vengefly King. I don't know. And there's
Ooh.
logical right side for Jason.
Wow, that's really good to find right now. I didn't follow the prices of the relics too closely in shops, but with just like a couple of Lem trips, some of these goals might come into play real quick.
Yeah, both runners a little Geo light right now. Sour's doing the Green Path farm, which is not a bad way to get Geo, but certainly less efficient, as I believe he's got an Arcane Egg in his inventory, than just going to Lem.
Okay, it does manage to not die to these Moss Knights. Definitely played it a little bit close, but we'll hold on. Shop key. That's more Geo to be spent.
Oh boy. Seed wants our racers to be poor.
Yeah, this is a new type of cursed. I haven't really seen seeds that are just like, yeah, I hope you guys are poor for the whole race.
And Sour gonna pick up his Sprint Master. Gonna bridge the gap between walking and sea dashing just a little bit. Looks like Sour's eyeing his base and simple key. I love it.
Yeah, I might also just check the Void Heart.
Vanilla white fragment. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, I'd like to see him just check the basin fountain as well, just to see whether it's like super important that he. I mean, obviously it's nice to get the goal regardless, but I think having it be something valuable for progression might lend you to go there a little bit earlier.
And also worth noting on the subject of white fragments that we saw another one at 14 grubs. So at this point, I think you're hoping to not need to. You're hoping Trampass isn't in birthplace.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it was quick focus at Basin. So if you've got 3k Geo, it's probably a better idea to try and go for like Nail 2 and 1500 Geo in the bank. But then I guess that doesn't get you as close to that 5,000 Geo. So we might see them like swapping off these Geo goals, which would be really, really nice.
And Sour, it looks like, is going to climb up to Right Side City from below, which is also logical for him, but slightly less efficient than the Salubra Blue Lake method.
Yeah, you also miss out on the checks on the way down through Kings. And those are definitely easy checks to kind of strand yourself of later and just kind of like never go back and check.
Especially with Shopkeep sitting at King Station and both runners remain poor, this could be an interesting battle for progression.
You never really tend to see Geo farming in races, but well, I guess it's probably better for them just to do checks and hope for relics than to actually sit in Geo farm, but would be interesting on this board.
Usually the Geo farming I have seen historically takes the form of either doing the husks in Crossroads like right at the beginning if you need a really expensive progression item to get out, or just like incidentally doing Massive Moss Charger, or else hoping for relics.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to do a concerted farm and lose all that time and goals to your opponent.
Oh, these husks are not being nice.
Yeah, you don't want to get bullied too bad by these guys.
Not having dash, like, in Basin in general is just painful.
so Sour heading right first, but otherwise it looks like they were going to reach Lem at about the same time.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they do with it.
Points made in chat. The irony of this seed being so geo-starved for Jason, who is the creator and champion of the Geo Rock Rando, is not lost on us.
It's really funny. Oh man, there's so many decisions as to what to do with Geo on this board.
Pit in order to flex with his claw. You'll love to see it.
No way to lever skip here, so he's going around. I hope to see the rafters check. I always like, when I'm walking here, I always am just like, oh man, do I really want to take the time to walk all the way up to rafters? But I think it's usually worth it.
Rafters is one of those things for me that's like Fury, that whenever I'm like, okay, I'm going to skip it this time, it's either a goal or progression.
Yeah.
And Wraiths is not a bad pickup.
That's definitely good for Jason, especially considering he doesn't have that VS. Having a spell will be very, very nice for him.
Not too far behind, probably even closer thanks to the C-dash advantage. But Jason is going to come into some money first.
Yep. And a decent amount of money too. That's good. I'm glad that he's going up here. I'd like to see him get Lemeg and then also the toll bench up here, just for potential Soul Tyrant, like Soul Sanctum access later, just so he doesn't have to walk all the way from Kings.
I was going to say that Nail 2 is accessible already because there was a Pale Ore at Queen Station Stag, I believe, but that one is a little bit closer and free, so I wonder if Jason will consider rushing that. There are defeat 2 Dream Warriors on the board, so Nail upgrades do make that a little bit harder, but there's not like a whole ton of reason to avoid it, I think.
Trying to keep
it looks like Jason is just... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm trying to keep an eye on how many seals we've seen too. I think we've only seen 2 seals. But with this amount of Geo, I think they might be able to finish that goal up pretty quick with how many were in shops.
And Jason, sure enough, doing the Nail 2 rush, will just barely miss out on having enough Geo afterwards to go deposit in the bank. So I'm assuming that will be a goal trade since they both have the Queen Station bench. But hard to say.
Yeah, I'd like to see him check Shopkey with the remaining stuff, but that's just because I'm a curious commentator and I want to know what's there. I don't know if that's actually the right play. It's so hard to tell.
Yeah, he is just a little bit more than a massive Moss Charger away from Geo in the bank. And it looks like Sour is also headed there. We'll hopefully turn around once he sees this get marked.
Yep. We'll warp out. Oh, this is Shopkey from Sour. I like this.
And Jason opting to walk back rather than warp anywhere in particular. So I wonder what he's eyeing in terms of movement. He may be going back up for that toll bench.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he didn't grab it while he was up there, so he could warp back, but that's okay.
Another seal at Shopkey, but other than that, not a whole lot.
Looks like Sour is checking shops. Wants to get those seals off the board if he can. Or 2 Pale Ore at Iselda.
Air Nail incoming?
Yeah, could definitely help on some of the later game stuff. More Geo to spend.
And that'll do it, I think.
Yep,
I believe that's his 5th.
I think that's a really, really good call on this board. It's a pretty geo-efficient way to get one of these kind of geo goals.
And still enough left over. get the bank. So this will clear out pretty much all of the geo goals except for the really big dollar ones, which Jason will have the advantage on afterwards. But at a 5-3 lead, this looks pretty worth it for Sour.
Yeah. There's something that I've kind of thought about in terms of races. I don't know if it'll ever come into play, but I really, really like the idea of depositing 1,500 in the bank and then holding that goal for a while and then taking that 1,500 geo out of the bank later to like buy another goal and then immediately go to Lem and then put the money back in the bank to reclaim the goal. I don't know if it's ever even like a decent play, but I want to see that happen in some race.
I mean, it's the one remaining goal because there's simply no way around it that you can be in a position to like undo. We've never seen that in a tourney race, at least not in Rando 3. But who knows? Maybe this is the time for the sneaky geo strats. As Jason gonna do his shop route just a little bit too late.
I like this check on this relic too. I feel like this relic is so often forgotten and so often stranded.
And picking up the dive at Leg Eater, so that's 3 floors pretty free. Like if he doesn't have a simple key for the most free version of that, but can head right up and grab this Gome journal entry and his first dive floor, and then can head into Peaks or can head over to right side to grab some more dive floors pretty quick like. Although Sour not too far behind in terms of this Leg Eater check, so this may be a bit of a race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. CG1 is definitely something that Jason could kind of head towards while getting this, while getting the dive floors. That might be a good idea.
He's
Otherwise,
warping
not
to
too
Kings
much.
first.
Oh, changed his mind.
All right. So he's going to have this advantage on dive floors just as Sour goes to Leg Eater and finds this dive. It may be honestly too expensive for Sour. I don't remember what the cost was. Yeah, just a little bit too much.
Something. Yeah, and Jason is going to be taking this path up into Crystal Peaks. I definitely like this play.
Unfortunately, Jason does not have Crystal Dash, so he can't kill Mila on his way in.
She lives for now.
And I know that Sour Cream, if I recall correctly, is an avowed supporter of Mila's continued existence, so unfortunately we may not get to see the best goal in this race.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but we will see many more Mila deaths in the future. So we'll hold on for that.
Jason with 2 dive floors headed right up to CG1. As Sour, it looks like making another Lem trip with his seals in tow to go get that dive.
It's an interesting skip of the bottom bench, but I think rushing this goal is definitely a decent play.
Yeah, I'm always a little leery of moving around in Crystal Peak without dive, or without dash rather. But that's because any percent muscle memory is so ingrained that I sort of flub it otherwise. So he's making his way through very clean. Get CG1 and 3rd dive floor in pretty quick succession, it looks like.
And that'll bring us to an even race. That's definitely good. And then he is ahead on progression or ahead just on the journal entries because he has journal. So that'll be good for him as well. Oh boy.
If he doesn't die to CG.
Okay.
All right.
It will live. I was going to say, shouldn't be too brutal of a fight with nail upgrades and a couple spells. But I guess starting at 3 health and having him kind of like spawn on top of you is a little bit of a recipe for potential pain.
A little uncomfortable. And Sour going to let Mila kill him?
Hit him?
I'm confused. Pretty sure even the Save Mila crowd is confused by that play.
Yeah, I'm worried about Sour. That's painful. Like,
And warping away as soon as he sees that CG1 has already been marked.
yeah. Man, there's got to be an issue with self-respect there if you're just letting Mila, like, kill you. I don't know.
Right, and there's the third dive floor as well. After a brief scuffle with some crystal miners.
Oh, get the check. Okay. He was paused for a little while there. I thought he might not, or I thought he might just warp out. Stag nest stag. That's another goal.
That's another goal. That's not bad at all. Listen, don't die on the conga line, please.
Okay, good dive. Oh, that's
2 Dream
big
Warriors,
too.
yeah.
And
Crystal
Soul
Peak
Pirate.
stacked.
Yeah, that's big. Quick Slash will definitely be nice with his nail upgrades that he already has.
Just an egg, but still a goal. As Sour going to continue muscling through Kingdom's Edge, not paying off as much as the Peaks play, it looks like. And Jason cycling right to Gorb.
Yeah, it's interesting that well, I think a lot about the C dash advantage, and it doesn't seem to be as big of an advantage as like a dash advantage. Seems like just kind of like a small movement advantage.
Yeah, C-Dash is good if you're very adept at spamming it. There's sometimes as Sour going back into QG, it looks like. Having a little bit more trouble with QGA this time around.
I'm curious what this is for by Sour.
Still gonna get it. That is some impressive stuff with Dashless QGA.
That is so much harder. Yeah, like I tend to kind of like go along the line of thinking that if you are in a position where you don't need to be going for any goals and you can just be doing checks, that you should probably be going for checks that lead you to an area that there's a goal in.
Oh, that's an unfortunate death.
Oh, especially with all the Geo stuff on the board.
And needing to do QGA to get back there. That's rough. That could very well be a double death and escalate into forfeiting some Geo goals. If Jason finds dash or wings while Sour is recovering his shade.
All right, it looks like we're probably going to get to see what's at Essence as well. And what's there could definitely change this this race. If there's more at Essence, like, Jason could kind of run away with this.
It looks like Sour is just going to leave behind his shade for now. So Jason taking some time out to check this gauntlet. Fair, given that since Dream Warriors haven't been marked, he can reasonably conclude that his Dream Nail that he's found was probably among the first. So good to clear out this area and not have to come back later, especially since you've already got the spells for it.
King's Idol, always nice to see. It's interesting, there are some boards where you look at relics and you're just like, oh man, that was, like, this doesn't do anything for me. This is definitely one of the boards where every relic is definitely appreciated.
Now we're moving back through green path at this point. That's fair. There's still some checks to get, including this Thorns of Agony with Claw C Dash is something that I often forget about when thinking about what's in Logic.
I honestly didn't even know it was possible with Claw C Dash.
Yeah, it's a little tricky for this first jump, but very much doable. As Jason showing off a hidden soul totem below 0 that today I learned, and gonna get his second Dream Warrior in pretty quick succession here. Head after this. I mean, like, Gome Garpede is pretty doable for you after this. You can head down into Deep Nest via Fungal. Soul Tyrant is doable, but you may want a little bit more damage, and especially for Soul Tyrant, a dash.
Yeah.
He could also just finish out Grubs. He's still got a bit of a lead on that. It looks like he's at 6, so he could go for a concerted Grub hunt and do some checks on the way.
I would like to see the, like, just the checks in Sanctum at the very least. I think that, like, if you're going to be doing checks somewhere, it's definitely not a bad play to just get those, like, get the first Soul Master fight out of the way, check the 4 checks that are there, just so you can walk back the next time to do just Tyrant whenever you have the damage for it.
Jason doing this Dream Trees, showing off the great Team Cherry quirk, where for some reason some of the grass is very loud.
It's my favorite thing during the Dreamnail cutscene.
Like the Dreamnail cutscene, the autopilot relic grass, Ale Lurker, and the door to Weaver's Den are the 4 that I think of off the top of my head that are just always at max volume.
And the False Night Wall.
Oh yeah, and the False Night Wall.
But yeah, I think there's definitely something wrong there. Nothing immediately useful at Essence.
Yeah, not looking... Spell Twister's kind of nice to have, but not 500 Essence nice to have, so... Looks like Essence mostly going to be a bust, which is good for Sour, honestly, being nowhere near a Dream Nail and 200 Essence behind. Unless Glade is something good.
So this looks like it might be Sour making progress towards that Goman Garpede journal entries. Which I think is definitely a good play. Oh,
there's the QG Stag.
Okay. I mean, like, that's definitely not as good as it could have been, considering Sour did that QGA. If Sour didn't do that QGA, that's 2 goals at Resting Grounds in 1 check. Which
first
is
Dreamer,
pretty ridiculous.
The form of Lurian at Spore Shroom. That's also leading towards the potential for Cursed Something, but given that we haven't seen a dash yet... yeah, also chat pointing out with Trampass almost certainly an Abyss, the King's Brand at high Essence might be more necessary than we give it credit for.
Oh yeah, with those fragments being where they are, that's a scary thing to consider. It's interesting that neither of them have gone for grubs, but I guess that also, like, grub hunting without dash is pretty painful.
And Unbreakable Greed at QG Stag. I believe we've seen a previous Unbreakable. I think Strength was at Sly, if I'm not mistaken. So that is also a goal waiting for Jason, should he remember. And it looks like he's equipped Greed and is going to Massive Moss Charger, so it may be on his mind.
I wonder if he has any relics. But yeah, I guess this might be a quicker way to get to that.
Just gonna briefly pause to play a quick rhythm game with a shrub.
Yeah, with Nail 2, not a very difficult rhythm game, but a rhythm game nonetheless.
Sour looks like a little bit lost on where the Garpede corpse is. That's super quick. And warps right away to Hot Springs to pick up Gome. Probably going to win that in the trade as Jason picks up his second Unbreakable.
So that's 9 for Jason. Only 4 goals to get for him. And quite a few goals that are like available to him. I think like Grubs is really reasonable. I think spending Geo, well, I guess actually I don't know how reasonable that one is.
Let's see if he
Soul
can manage it.
Tyrant could happen. But I think taking away this Gome and Garpede journal entries is like really, really good from Sour.
And Sour also showcasing a very good infection pogo to get to the area where the journal entry is in the first place, but passing by the secret soul totem in that room in favor of going down into fungal.
This is spend 5,000 Geo from Jason if he wants it. I guess he's looking for relics so he can maybe buy the fountain as well. That would be a really big swing.
Buying the same goals, given that the other stuff is random or pretty long to complete. Or in Jason's case, uncompletable. He doesn't have a way to Umu yet.
Yeah, if you were able to get both of the 5,000 Geo and the fountain, like that's huge for him. But even just the 5,000 Geo on its own is pretty big when you're already at 9 goals.
So Jason looking for the home stretch. There's not a whole lot that's immediately doable. You've got Grubs, which will take a while, Path of Pain, and Umu, like Charge Lumafly, which he can't do yet. A couple one-off random checks, a Dream Boss that is horrible without dash, and Base and Fountain. So I'm guessing it's going to be a Geo grind for a little bit.
He does have Moss Charger done, so that Radiant boss is a little bit more appealing, especially with Quick Slash and Nail 2. So that's something that he could like definitely end on if he got to it, but I guess he also doesn't have a way into waterways.
Yeah, no simple keys I think have been found yet. Chat points out Jason is also a fan of Dark Deep Nest. I don't know that it's something he's interested in doing without dash, but could be a way towards Beast Den for the Trilobite.
It'd be a little bit of a long trip, but I'm sure he could do it.
Hour with just all the acid skips gonna head. I'm assuming this is the Umu play.
Oh, please live. Oh my
Oh.
That I've never hit that jelly into the wall. I didn't even know that was something you could do.
Tempting fate there.
This is a tough trip to Umu as well. Yeah, definitely take your time. Abuse that look down mechanic. Oh.
Yeah, this is a rough place to be. Ooh.
Yeah, hitting that jelly.
And finally gonna grab his C-dash. Basically all caught up on movement, just a VS behind, but he also picked up the hidden station stag. So, at this point, that's just who can walk a little faster.
I'm curious to see whether Jason will head towards Umu. Might be something that's a little bit... Well, I guess he's got Nail 2 and Quick Slash. It might not be that bad. But I'm curious to see whether he will kind of get baited into going towards Umu and then get it taken away from him.
I mean, Sour having Shriek, even without Shaman Stone, it makes the fight decently trivial. Because it's, I believe, just 4 Shrieks to kill Umu.
How did his Shade die?
I have no idea.
Like, as he entered the room, his Shade died and, like, his money came back to him, but I don't...
Did it maybe it's like aggro animation cause it to run into spikes?
Are there spikes in that room?
I
Like,
don't know.
I'm thinking maybe it must have like gotten like spawned like in acid or something.
Or, do charge Lumaflies kill the shade? That was weird.
Oh,
Sour
maybe.
hit the archives bench right as Jason starts his way down there. With the spell advantage he's got, this is probably Sour's goal to lose. But it is a Dream Nail-less fight for Sour, and Jason has that. Although Sour full up on Soul anyway, so I imagine this is his.
Oh, Jason finding Shriek. Yeah, unless this fight goes like, I won't say anything.
Yeah, I don't want
Commentator, it
to.
is my responsibility to not put these players in any awful positions.
Oh boy. Umu is the definition, especially dashless Umu is the definition of an awful position.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, it looked like one, maybe two Shriek hits shy of the one cycle. But yeah, this is almost certainly Sour's goal, unless Sour not saying anything.
And this is about the best thing you can hope for if you're Sour. Like, obviously he won't know that Jason was behind him here and spent all this time going through here. But like, this is absolutely the best thing you can hope for, is the person who's ahead is following you and you snipe them from something. So you know that they aren't, well, I guess you don't know, but they aren't getting progression towards anything else while you are able to take away a goal.
I wonder, given that Jason is just now starting the fight, I wonder if he warps out and doesn't even bother with the check once he sees Sour mark this. Also, I don't know if you're in chat, but they would like to remind you that there is a left exit to the Umu room.
Mm-hmm.
Sour demonstrates as he goes to grab this Lumafly journal entry.
Chat will never let me forget that. I love them for it, but they will never let me forget it.
Jason, still in the Umu fight. It's not that bad a fight unless you knock Umu into you like that. But you may just not have seen the board. I know when I'm in boss fights, I oftentimes won't check what's up with bingo until after it's done anyway. So this is another time advantage for Sour in working towards the next goal.
Yeah. Now, Sour just has to hope that there's nothing like really good at the check after Umu.
Like if Tram passes at Monomon.
Yeah.
As Jason's gonna be in for a 3 cycle.
Alright, does get the fight done with.
Looking at the left
standing
door.
at the left door.
That means he
boy.
hasn't checked the board.
Oh,
Nope, moves
there
to
he
the
is.
right. All right, he's got it.
I like this. If you've spent all the time, you may as well take the time to get the check.
Especially because Jason still has no way of knowing that Sour has not seen Sour prove that he's got a Dream Nail. And in fact, Sour does not have a Dream Nail, so not bad for Jason to grab this, which his opponent can't.
Glowing womb.
Not one of the random things we're looking for, alas.
Could be a small hint as to where to check. They do have C dash and claw. And I don't think we've seen it from either racer.
Another Arcane Egg for Sour. That's not bad for getting back into this Geo race with one Geo goal still left on the board.
Yeah, both of them still pretty starved, but could be getting close on relics to the point where you could see that come into play pretty quick.
Looks like Jason might be heading to finish out Crystal Peaks. Maybe also grab some of these grubs.
Can you do the crushers with C dash? Yeah, if you can, this is painful.
I have definitely taken many, many deaths trying to get this. I That will confirm its actual feasibility, but it's certainly not easy. And like Crystal Heart is right over there, so I question the time spent on this check, especially when it's not a goal.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's good practice for when it is eventually going to be a goal on some of these boards, because it is one of our new goals, but yeah, it's a little bit painful.
Sour's still a little bit of geo short from the basin fountain. I wonder if he's eyeing the grind for this, maybe doing another round of shop checks or getting grub money to make it happen.
Whoa. Getting that crystal heart storage or whatever that actually is when you come down from the well there.
And the well likes to make some shenanigans.
Alright, he's gonna collect the geo.
Still a little bit short as Jason moves into double-digit grubs.
Oh, I would have liked to see. I guess maybe Sour knows better than I do what's actually at grubs, but I imagine that with 9 grubs, there might be relics that you could actually grab there. I do really like this from Sour, though. I think like this is about the time in the race where you have to get that 15 grubs.
It's been sitting there for a while, and even though both runners are light on movement, one of those items of movement is vertical, so it's not like a horrible slog to get grubs. It's no fun without dash, but it's still something you gotta do just to clean up the race.
Yeah, and it looks like it might be close. Jason on 11, Sour on 10, and both of them, it looks like, thinking about it.
Grubs play at this point. I don't think he's headed for Soul Tyrant, and there are a couple quick grubs right around here.
11 there.
Could actually be a very tight lockout in one direction or another.
Yeah, I'm curious where Jason's... Because he's got another one here with the guarded grub. And he still needs 2 more. I'm curious where the quickest ones for him would be. Both getting the guarded grub at the same time. Yeah, that's really interesting when stuff like this happens in a race.
Yeah, so Jason, I believe, is just missing a couple Crossroads ones, because I don't think he got the Pogo one that Sour just got recently, or the guarded one up top here, so I'm betting that's his 15. And Sour, it looks like, continuing around to get nail upgrades? No, sorry. I could just be Watcher's grub.
Yeah, it must be.
Don't imagine you do Watcher Nights right now. As much as the copy pasta would love to have you do it, it's a long way to go, especially when you're close on this grub goal.
2 dashes behind Watcher Knights plus Tram Pass.
Wouldn't that
Probably
be something? Jason also passing by Milo with C-Dash and opting to let her live.
You hate to see it. You really do.
Stopping by for this first check in C Peaks. Oh, Crips Grub.
Crips
That's
Grub,
a good 15th.
yeah. That's a really good 15th with the 4 checks that are here.
Sour crawls up to 13. This is going to sting a little bit as a lockout.
Yep, and there's the 15.
And there's the mark. Pivoting right to Watcher Nights. Looks like chat prevails after all.
Yeah, I mean, with Shriek... I mean, no dash makes this a little bit painful, but with Shriek, this isn't an awful fight. Oh, I guess no Dream Nail. Definitely Could be better.
You got Sprint Master to rely on. Demonstrating pretty impeccable skill with cramming shrieks right in the faces of these Watcher Knights, as Jason finds a second Dream Nail.
Yeah, still pretty far away on movement for Path of Pain, but it is something to keep in mind. Dreamgate might make that trip through Dark Deep Nest a little bit less spooky. If Jason kind of wants to just drop Dreamgates and just slowly make his way through it.
It's certainly a feasible play. It's also 14 grubs gets him a couple relics, gets him half of King's Soul, it gets him Dash Slash. None of those things are immediately useful, but if there's some cursed stuff going on, they all could be.
I hope so. Sour on the last Watcher. Pretty clean fight overall.
Yeah, for not having Dash or Dream Nail.
Yeah. I think sacrificed a little bit of health for some speed, but I think in a race that's more than okay to do. He's only going to get 2 checks here because no Dream Nail. We'll have to see if he actually goes up and checks what Lurian would be. Isma's.
Sour bowing to Isma's is how I'm going to choose to interpret that.
Yeah, that's definitely not how I interpreted that. With dying to, well, not dying to QGA, but trying to go through Queen's Gardens and doing these acid skips for the whole seed.
I also happen to know that Sour is one of the people that believes that Ismas should just be straight removed from the game. So, not a fan of being forced to pick that up.
That's true. Just a seal at Lurian. So, Watchers, not immediately useful. I don't think that Ismas does much for Sour either. Oh, and Jason is definitely just going to grab the fountain right now.
As it looks like Sour
must have been a Lem trip.
Yeah, and it looks like Sour is just going to swim back across and continue into QG.
Yeah, I'm guessing this was a play to get the shade back and try and just scrounge up the last little bit of Geo for the fountain, but that is not going to be an option now.
So at this point, you're at 12 goals. You need anything. Dashless, Soul Tyrant, and Beast End Trilobite in the dark are both not the most fun things to do, but they are both certainly doable, and when you've got the time afforded you by being this far in the lead, looks like Dark Deep Nest is maybe going to be the play, but he's got time. He can pick from his options. He can even mess up his movement a little bit. Sour Cream needs everything else on the board, including Path of Pain, in order to win at this point.
Yeah, and I think, like, it's not going to be too tough when he's got that Dream Gate to abuse. Sour kind of stuck here. Looked like either way tried to go. It was just not going to work out without dash.
Having this
where the dashes were.
Shout out to you for your impeccable seed generation again, because this is rough.
Oh boy. Yeah, no wings, no dash, claw only, claw C dash.
Claw C dash gets you where you need to go. It's just
I
not
guess
fun.
it technically does.
Jason with nail upgrades, strength, and shriek gonna make quick work of this, often considered the worst arena in the game. So it looks like he's making the Dark Deep Nest play for his last goal. Oh, maybe.
Ooh, that Petra.
This arena is no fun. Sour a chance to catch up by going the other way around. Could be a fairly tight lockout if Sour makes quick enough work of Dark Deep Nest.
Yeah, this is... Oh, I guess it's not that awful. I was about to say, I can't even imagine doing Dark Deep Nest without dash and like with what they've got now. But I guess this is the any percent route. I was thinking about doing it from Hot Springs, and that sounds very painful.
Yeah. But it looks like Sour also running into problems of his own. At least has the advantage of the bench right here. But Sour with a solid minute maybe, assuming Jason makes it through this arena unscathed this time, could go either way.
And yet again, this is another area where this is like exactly where you want to be as Sour. Like, you want to be in a position where you're going for kind of a long goal, and you want Jason to be following you so he's not making progression towards anything else. So I think this is a really good call from him that this might be what Jason's going for. And very clean movement too.
This is not bad Dark Deep Nest by any means.
This is the last room as well.
To make it all the way up and around Beastin, because the Trilobite is near the secret entrance. So it's not over yet. With no dash, the potential that a Devout can just ruin your day is still there. But it looks like Sour is pretty healthily in the lead. As Jason going to lay down some safety Dream Gates.
Yeah, that was a very clean Dark Deep Nest without dash. Only taking the one hit. Oh my goodness. The jump's there, actually. I think you probably have to do that wall jump to get across that first jump if you're not going to see dash. But that was a little bit spooky.
All right, Sour, this goal is yours to lose. Let's see how his Beast Den is.
Yeah, you imagine with Shriek to kill that first devout from below, and then the other spells, you should be okay.
Just want to remind our viewers that this is an easy logic seed, by the way.
Yeah, there's that first devout out of the way.
Looks like having some problems with Dreamgate placement. I'm not sure what causes the Dreamgate to fizzle there.
There we go. Yeah, I haven't used much Dreamgate just in general, so it seems like they're just kind of like arbitrary areas where it does and doesn't work.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. That essentially forfeits the goal. Nice Soul Totem, but
I've never seen that one.
So the best case scenario for Sour is if there's a dash in Beast Den, or like, I actually think a dash in Beast Den would be the best thing for him.
That's not the best thing for him.
Too soon. I will learn to shut my mouth.
Wait, it doesn't spawn you in Beast Den in Rando?
No, the hard save at the trap bench got removed.
Whoa, I didn't know that's how that worked. Oh, I thought it was just going to spawn him at the start of Beast Den and we were going to get like a pretty close race to this last goal, but having to do this over again is probably just GG, honestly.
Even if Jason were to die here, he's got the Dream Gate in a much more favorable position. So I don't want to call it because we have cursed runners in the past, but it's looking pretty locked up for Jason.
Yeah, that definitely hurts if you're Sour.
a really impressive display of skill by both runners.
Absolutely.
Was expecting this caliber of play from both of them, but glad we got to see some QGA and Dark Deep Nest on this.
Yeah, some really impressive tricks to get these goals.
Or maybe feeling the pressure a little bit, takes an unfortunate fall into the bottom of Beast Den there. Or the bottom of Distant Village, rather.
The fact that he's making his way up through this is really impressive.
I could not do this in
yeah.
the dark. He's eventually going to take his way back. G.
Yeah, that's GG. Okay, I do have a spoiler log generated, so we will know where all of
Fantastic.
these items actually were. at
I'm
some
going
point.
to mark the runners as done, see if we can't get them in here for post-game. Jason takes a victory lap, slashing the trilobite some more.
Hello.
Hello.
GG's.
GG's. Dark Deep Nest is always the right call.
Apparently. How'd you feel about walking that whole seed?
Did Sour find Dash, or did Sour
Nope.
do UGA with no Dash?
Our did dashless QGA right off the bat.
Nice. I thought so. Once I found that C Dash.
Yeah, no dashes were found. I do have a spoiler log up, but I'll wait to give the content until Sour gets in.
Yeah, I was hoping
Sour,
that
GG.
Sour had.
Hi.
I was hoping Sour had found Ismas at False Night and not C Dash.
I did find Ismas though.
Oh, where was it?
Water eggs.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. You beat me barely to like 3 different goals, and I'm very upset.
Well, you barely beat me to charge the Lumafly, so you at
I
least got
figured.
revenge on that. And like,
Well-
you beat me by a bit on Sprint Master, I think.
I had you dead to rights on Beast Den, I think, but I died.
Sour was in the lead, but also having no Dream Nail.
Yeah,
That
that
death was really rough. Jason had Dream Gate at that point, so he was playing
Yeah.
safer on the walk there. And then once you died, it was essentially over.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then I
also
felt.
kind of. Yeah, I fell in Distant Village because I wasn't sure whether I could make the jumps with just Claw, and I tried to C dash and kind of just C dash to the Soul Totem instead on accident.
Okay, do you guys want to know where dashes were?
Where?
Of course.
So first intended dash was at Tram Pass.
Nice.
Second one was Mask Shard Deep Nest.
I could have.
So that's Fungal Core?
That's
No, I couldn't.
That's
Fungal
Wings
Core.
locked.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah. Third one was Joni's.
Oh, I should have done Joni's. I thought about it.
And the last one was Hollowness Seal Queen Station. So that's
Oh, well.
That was doable for both runners.
Yeah.
and then both wings. One of the wings was the Journal Above Mantis Village. And the other wings was Rancid Egg Blue Lake.
I see.
Progression,
So both
fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, a
I
little out of the way, but
basically-
certainly not Hive.
I didn't really do any checks that seed. It felt like
Yeah.
it felt like all I did was like goals.
Yeah,
I-
definitely kind of played out that way.
There's like a few of those things, like you said, Joni's, and you said like Blue Lake Egg. Like both of those things, I debated on going to check a few times, and I should have.
How did you guys feel about the geo management in this seed?
Oh,
And
I
the
like the
sport.
geo management.
It was over once I died and lost my shade. Like I knew I
Oh
wasn't
no!
getting it. Yeah.
Where'd you die?
I died. I wanted to beat you to Beastin way earlier. Like I just acid skipped into QG, but like I went back and then died in QG. I'm like, I ain't gonna bother to just acid skip again without dash.
I think I sold to Lem 3 times.
I did,
Bought
like, 3 or
seals
4.
after you did 5 seals to get 5,000 geo and killed massive moss charger with greed equipped.
Oh, I didn't even find greed.
It was
Yeah,
at
that was
QG
in-
stag, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Where'd you find your dream nail?
Dreamnail was in Peaks, I think at
I
the
knew
conga
it.
line. I almost skipped conga line.
I knew it. I went
Like-
back to Peaks like twice, like thinking that you got something there, and I just bailed.
Yeah, I did the dive, found Stag, I think, at the dive egg, and was going to warp out, but then I'm like, I should probably check this while I'm here. And it was Dreamnail, so that was really good for me.
So do you guys Tram Pass was in Birthplace.
Ugh.
And the
Amazing.
fragments you guys had were Grubs, White Palace, and I guess there was one in Catacombs that you might have found.
Oh, I didn't do the
Um,
left check, so I guess I didn't get that.
I would have done Path of Pain before doing that, so
Yeah.
Yeah, Path of Pain. I previewed White Palace and saw there was a fragment there.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the last fragment was behind Grim. So also
Incredible.
doable, but it would have taken a while.
That's some good content for the seed. I'm just upset we didn't see attempts at Dashless Soul Tyrant.
Oh, I was considering it with
Didn't have D-Nail, or I would have.
with Shriek, but yeah, I figured I should try to do Beast and Trilobite instead, since that seemed a bit easier and less annoying.
No, for sure. I think Dashless Soul Tyrant is a nightmare. It just would have been peak content.
Hey,
you have
we
Shriek?
have a yeah. Shriek was
Okay.
the seal in Fog Canyon, right? I forget where the other one was.
That is where
The
you
other one
both
was
picked up
Rafters.
Shriek.
Yeah,
Rafters and the Fog Canyon.
Yeah, we did have Sprint Master, so that
That
could
was
have
nice.
helped.
Basically movement in this seed.
We did have C-Dash though, so it wasn't too bad.
I'm surprised I was the first to like get Nail 2 when you had.
I was
C-Dash.
contesting that. As you marked it, I was about to do the transition because I didn't buy any Pale Ore. I got it at Lemeg.
Oh yeah, I got the Pale Ore at Lemeg and immediately turned around and went to do Nail 2. I thought that I was gonna go get the toll bench, buy the Pale Ore at like Queen Station or something, and come back, but that like saved a bit of time.
Yeah. Did you ever find a simple key?
I never found a simple key.
Me either.
All right. Simple keys were Hollowness Seal, Fog Canyon West. So that's the
Autopilot,
explodey
oh.
one, right?
Okay.
Oh no, that's autopilot.
Autopilot.
Yeah.
Okay. That's your first one. Every other one is way further down. One of them was Bretta. One of them was Shade Soul with Elegant Key at Charm Notch Fog Canyon.
Cool.
Yeah. I
And
was not
then
doing that.
the last one, I don't even know where the last one. Oh, last one was Sharp Shadow, and you guys didn't find a single dash. So
A little out of the way, yeah.
I'm very happy that I did do that skip for QG very early because I had a feeling he was going to get the stag before me. I didn't want him to get 2 goals out of that deal. So I just instantly went for that. And I got it first try, which I was surprised about because I've never done it without dash.
That's pretty
yeah, that was
impressive.
really clean.
And then I died afterwards, so.
Yeah, I think a lot of what decided this seed was me getting to Peaks first, because Peaks had Dive Floors CG1 and also Stag Nest and Dreamnail, which
Yeah.
led to me going to Resting Grounds, which had QG Stag.
I was at the dive egg when you marked CG1, like around there. So I just failed.
Yeah.
That was a good one. A little rough.
Yeah,
but
that
it
was
good.
that was a good
GGs.
race, guys.
GGs.
For a walking seed, that was very, very well played from both of you. GG's. All around.
Considering I died like 5 times, I'm gonna take that as a win.
All right. Just some clerical stuff. I believe our next race is actually tomorrow. Someone's sneaking onto the schedule. Tomorrow at 1 US Eastern, Manic Jamie versus Grazloff. It does not have a channel yet, but if you stick around on the SpeedGaming family of channels, you will be able to catch some more Hollow Knight rando action. Anything else from anyone?
No, I think that's probably good. GG's to both the racers, and thanks to everybody for watching.
GG's.